Okay, here's another inverse problem. Again, we said inverse. We're going to think of switching the x and the y and then solve for y. But first we have to identify who our y is. So when we say f of x, that's our y. And over here you have another letter, which is the x, another variable. And that happens to be your x. So you're switching your x and y. You're switching the x would be your input and your y would be your output. So to find the inverse, again I need to switch the x and the y. So wherever I see the y, I'm going to change it to an x. And where I see the x, I'm going to change it to a y. Ooh, now we have to solve for y. So now we get a task at hand. Because in this case, look at all the little details that we have. Remember that every time when we try to isolate a letter, we get rid of everything that's around it. So right now, the one thing that's around this y is this -2 and this negative symbol. So I'm going to get rid of the -2 first. Okay. So we have x minus 2 equals -4 over y minus 3. That pretty much cancels these two right here. I also have a negative symbol that I can just simply multiply both sides by a negative, and I can get rid of that negative symbol there. And that'll become negative x plus 2. Alright, now I want you to see if you can visualize this, but sometimes it's hard to visualize it, but if you see all this part right here, if you put all of that over 1, and you kind of make you do make a proportion here, and that's cool because I can say, you know what, in proportions I can do so many things as long as I do it crisscross like this, or what they usually call cross multiply. In other words, you would bring all of this over here, and then this 1 times the 4. And you can also do something which is like cross them into the different sides, and it actually still means the same thing. In other words, I can make this y minus 3 equals 4 over negative x plus 2. And why is that allowed? Because, in other words, if I were to move all of this y minus 3 up here, and I'll put it over here on the side, right? Then eventually I can divide everything by this negative x plus 2, and it would also come down here. So I'm kind of doing that in one step. Where's my 1? Well, it's right here in the bottom, but I'm just making it invisible. Okay, so that is allowed. And now that you have that, all I gotta do now is move my 3 over here. And I have pretty much my answer. If I do have a negative x on the bottom, you can change all the signs to put it positive. Just as a fraction, okay? Because I'm not doing anything else besides just messing with the signs here. It's very hard to explain. It's like factoring out a negative and then placing it on the top, if that makes any sense. So I'm not really messing with the 3, I'm just messing with the fraction. Okay, if you want to see it over here, pretty much basically what I did here is I factored out a -1, which we need to deal with factoring a lot more in the near future. We don't know much. We factored out in -1. We haven't really practiced this. And then I bring the 1 to the top, and it becomes what we have there, which basically is just changing of the signs of the fraction. Okay, that's a tough one. I admit that's a tough one here, but that pretty much is your answer right there.